These bears literally have it all. They are one of the most versatile predators on Earth, able to hunt both on land and water. And today I will go over the most impressive feats and abilities polar bears possess that makes them so formidable life-cancelling machines. Each point I cover will also progressively become more and more savage and impressive. But let's start off easy with their absolutely insane smelling abilities, as this is one of the fundamental perks they use to locate fat seals and other food items. Polar bears actually have one of the most acute senses of smell in the entire animal kingdom. They can detect one single soy boy seal hiding under a meter or 3.5 feet of thick ice from over 1 kilometer or half a mile away. This is crucial as their environment is very lifeless and food sources can be spread apart over vast distances. Now this actually brings me to my next point. You see, when the polar bear eventually finds one of these seal dens or breathing holes, they will just sit and wait for hours at a time until a seal pops up. If it's a breathing hole, the bear will basically just dive in and take the little blob out. But if it's a den, they literally have to use their brute force to break through a whole meter of thick packed ice. And they have to do this extremely quick, so the seal doesn't have time to escape. To more easily understand how much power this actually requires, just think back to your childhood, when you went to kick down one of those snowmen, but it had developed a slight layer of ice on the outside overnight, so instead of breaking, you just hurt your toe like a So just imagine how hard and solid a meter of ice is compared to your poor little snowman. Truly puts their strength into perspective. But this is literal child's play compared to what's coming later in the video. You see, polar bears are at the pinnacle of their respective food chain. They face absolutely zero competition from anything except the harsh climate. This means that pretty much any meat vehicle with a pulse or not will be considered food. And as mentioned, most of the time, they do in fact just go after little soy boy seals. But sometimes they challenge themselves with absolute units like walruses. These supersized fat rolls can weigh up to 1,700 kilograms or 3,700 pounds, and they also have a giant set of life-cancelling tusks, reaching lengths longer than your attention span at around 1 meter or 3 feet. The fact that a polar bear would even consider them as a potential prey is pretty wild. But unlike you, they don't just dream big. They actually get their massive paws dirty and succeed in their goals. The raw power necessary to subdue one of these giants is unlike anything we see anywhere else in nature. There is literally no other predator going after such massive prey alone. And this is not even remotely close to being impressive at all compared to the fact that they also hunt goddamn whales. Now this next segment is just pure insanity. The strength displayed is hard to even describe using words. Although it should be stated that the whole whale hunting aspect of a polar bear's life is not a regular occurrence, but it has indeed been documented several times. There are mainly 2 types of whales they have been seen hunting. The first one is the cute, innocent little beluga whale, which to be fair is a bit of a war crime to go after, but nature doesn't care about cuteness whatsoever. The second whale they are known to be hunting is narwhales. And no, that spiky horn thingy pointing out of their face is not for better Wi-Fi connections. It's actually not a horn at all, but an elongated upper left canine tooth, which can grow up to 3 meters or 10 feet in length. And it's not known to be used as a defensive measure, but it's actually a sensory organ that can detect minor changes in their surroundings, like temperature and salinity levels in the water. Anyways, let's get back to the carnage that is the polar bear. You might be wondering how these gigachad bears are actually able to not only get a hold of, but drag and lift these absolute fat units out of the water and up on slippery sheets of ice. And keep in mind that these whales on average can weigh around 3,000 pounds or 1,400 kilograms. You would think that polar bears would struggle enough with their own massive body weight of around 700 kilograms or 1,700 pounds. If you have ever tried to lift yourself out of water onto a tall ledge, it's almost impossible. Now imagine doing this while also weighing that much and having an ultra-thick layer of wet fur clothing on you. It would literally be impossible. But polar bears simply fly out of the water like nothing, in addition to dragging a goddamn whale in its jaws, weighing the same as your mum. This truly does put their strength into another perspective indeed. They are simply built different. Congratulations, you've made it past the halfway mark, and if you've enjoyed the video so far, then please do consider absolutely annihilating that like button. Okay, let's get back to the video. Now, as the title suggests, polar bears are not only gifted in one aspect of their physiology, they are pretty much overpowered in every physical department there is, although Drake still outcompetes them in the slong department. Anyways, let's take a little break from their strength abilities and move over to their ungodly endurance. You would think that with their big boy size, they shouldn't really have that good of an endurance, but as you should know by this point, polar bears don't really care about the natural laws of things. One female polar bear was even documented to swim for 9 freaking days without eating, drinking, or resting at all. And she ended up covering over 687 kilometers, or 427 miles during this period. This is just beyond impressive. Not even someone like David Goggins would ever attempt this. Okay, so we now know that they are insanely strong and have incredible stamina. But another aspect of their genetics that makes them true survivors is their incredible ability to go without food or water for extensive periods. They have been documented to fast for several months at a time when food has been scarce. One study even found that some polar bears could go as long as 180 days without any food. This is just wild, especially when you realize that polar bears don't even hibernate like most bears do. And these prolonged periods with little food usually occur in the summertime, as a lot of the major ice sheets melt, making seal hunting almost impossible. But it gets even crazier. You see, polar bears usually don't even need to drink water to survive, as they get what they need from the metabolic breakdown of fats from their prey. I've said it before, and I'll say it again. Polar bears are simply built different. They are perfectly designed to survive in their extremely harsh environments, and they seem to have it all covered without any signs of weak points at all. Another notable aspect of their physiology is their fur. The fur is so insulating that they are almost invisible under infrared pictures and videos. Infrared lenses are basically designed to show heat signatures, but their fur holds the heat so well that nothing escapes. And this is not just because their fur is super thick. You see, these bears actually have transparent fur, not white, and their skin is also black, which helps with absorbing sunlight and heat, while the transparent fur scatters and reflects visible light, making them look white. Now that you have a decent idea of what sort of natural powerhouse we have to deal with here, one question remains. What should you do if you somehow, for some reason, manage to get your stupid ass face to face with one of these beasts? Well, you're pretty much screwed. You see, polar bears are a little different than most predators, because they don't really view us as humans. And most of them haven't spent enough time with us to really fear us. So they basically just view us as a walking buffet, which is why we say, if it's black, fight back. If it's brown, lay down. And if it's white, good night. Before I let you go, I have to show you what the polar bear looked like around 600,000 years ago during the Pleistocene epoch. Meet the Ursus maritimus tyrannus. You just know this was a menace when it is named after the infamous Tyrannosaurus rex. And it was indeed a formidable predator, even larger than the modern polar bears today, although they are thought to look pretty much the same, despite having browner fur, as they actually evolved from brown bears. The white fur of the modern polar bear is something that came as a direct response to the shift to colder climates. This prehistoric version was also a lot thicker and more muscular, as the more streamlined build of polar bears is something that they slowly evolved during their transition to a more aquatic lifestyle. Anyways, that's the end of the video. If you enjoyed it, then maybe watch some of my other videos on screen, and I will see you in the next one.